The small town of Riverdale had never seen anything quite like the Singh twins. Maya and Mira had been turning heads since the day they were born 25 years ago. With their matching dark hair, bright eyes, and quick smiles, they were hard to tell apart. And that was exactly how they liked it. Growing up, the twins did everything together. They wore the same clothes, joined the same clubs, and even got the same grades in school. When one twin got sick, the other would often feel bad too. Their connection was special, and everyone in town knew it. Those Singh girls are like two bodies with one soul, people would say, smiling as the twins passed by hand in hand. But behind those smiles, there was often worry. Parents would whisper to each other about how the twins needed to grow up and become their own people. Teachers tried to put them in different classes, only to find the twins' grades dropping until they were together again. They'll never survive the real world like that, their Aunt Martha said often at family gatherings. They need to learn to be apart. The twins heard these comments but didn't care. They had each other, and that was all that mattered. Then, on a rainy Tuesday in April, something unexpected happened. The Wilson brothers moved to town. James and John Wilson were also twins, though not identical like Maya and Mira. They came to Riverdale to help their uncle run his hardware store after he hurt his back. James was tall with dark brown hair, while John was slightly shorter with lighter hair and glasses, but they had the same easy laugh and kind eyes. The same twins met the Wilson brothers when their car broke down near the hardware store. James and John came out to help, and something clicked right away. For the first time, Maya and Mira met people who understood their special bond without judging it. It's like they speak our language, Maya told Mira that night as they stayed up late talking. Over the next 6 months, the four became inseparable. Maya and James fell in love, as did Mira and John. The brothers didn't try to come between the twins or change their relationship. Instead, they simply joined the circle, making it stronger. When Maya started dating James, she didn't have to worry about leaving Mira alone, because Mira was with John. They could go on double dates, share inside jokes, and understand each other in ways that most people couldn't. "We're thinking of getting married," Maya announced at a family dinner one night, her hand tight in James's grip. "Both of us," Mira added, smiling at John. On the same day, the silence that followed was heavy. Then someone snorted, and suddenly the whole table was laughing. "You can't be serious," their cousin Brad said between laughs. "A double twin wedding. That's taking this twin thing too far." Their mother looked worried. "Girls, marriage is about building a life with your husband, not your sister." "This is just weird," Aunt Martha said bluntly. "People will talk." The Wilson brothers sat quietly, their faces serious as they watched the twins face their family's reaction. "We're not asking for permission," Maya said firmly. "We're telling you our plans," Mira finished. "The wedding is in 3 months." As they left the dinner that night, the laughing and jokes followed them. Word spread quickly through the small town. Soon, everyone was talking about the twin circus wedding that was coming up. "They'll never last," the town barber told anyone who would listen. "Those marriages are doomed before they even start." Little did the town know, their laughter would come back to haunt them in ways they never expected. The weeks after the dinner were hard for Maya and Mira. Everywhere they went in Riverdale, people stared and whispered. At the grocery store, Mrs. Palmer, who had known them since they were babies, shook her head sadly when she saw them. "Such a shame," she said loud enough for them to hear. "Those girls are making a big mistake." At the bank, their old school teacher, Mr. Roberts, asked them directly, "Are you sure about this? Marriage is serious business. It's not like getting matching haircuts." Even their parents were worried. Their father tried to talk to them one night after dinner. "Girls, we love you both very much," he said, his voice gentle but concerned. "But we think you're rushing into this. Maybe you should wait a year and think about it more." Their mother nodded. "You've always done everything together. But marriage is different. What if one marriage works and the other doesn't? What if you want to move to different cities someday? The twins listened but didn't change their minds. They had heard these worries their whole lives. People always thought their closeness was strange or unhealthy, but they knew better. Meanwhile, the Wilson brothers were facing their own problems. Their uncle, who owned the hardware store, was not happy about the wedding plans. "You boys barely know these girls," he told them one morning as they opened the store. "And this twin thing is just odd. People are talking about it all over town." James shrugged. "Let them talk. We know what we're doing." John nodded. "We grew up with 3 brothers. We understand family bonds." Their uncle frowned. "Brothers are one thing. But these girls, they're like one person split in 2. It's not normal." Despite all the talk, the 4 of them moved forward with their wedding plans. They found a church that would hold the ceremony and booked it for June 15th. They picked out rings, ordered flowers, and planned a simple reception in the town park. The twins decided they would wear different wedding dresses, a first for them. "People think we can't be different," Mira said as they looked at wedding magazines. "But we've always been our own people. We just choose to be together." Maya nodded. "I'll wear classic white. You should wear that cream dress we saw. It looked beautiful with your skin." As the wedding got closer, the town's talk grew louder. People made bets on how long the marriages would last. 6 months, said the owner of the coffee shop. "I give it 3, replied the mail carrier. The worst was when the twins overheard Brad, their cousin, at the town diner. "It's like they're stuck at age 6, he said to his friends. "They need to grow up and live real lives." The day before the wedding, something unexpected happened. The twins' grandmother arrived from India. She had not visited America in 10 years, but she came for the wedding. She was a small woman with white hair and bright eyes that missed nothing. After dinner, she asked to speak to Maya and Mira alone. The 3 women sat in the garden as the sun set. "Everyone is worried about you," their grandmother said, her accent thick, but her words clear. "They think your bond is your weakness." The twins waited, expecting another lecture. Instead, their grandmother smiled. "But I see the truth. Your bond is your strength. In my long life, I have learned that love multiplies when it is shared. You have double the love, double the support. Those who laugh do not understand this gift." For the first time in weeks, the twins felt truly happy. At least one person understood them. "Tomorrow," their grandmother said, patting their hands, "you will show this town what real love looks like." The wedding day dawned bright and clear. The church bells rang across Riverdale, calling people to the event that everyone had been talking about for months. Inside the church, Maya and Mira got ready in separate rooms, another first for them. Their mother cried as she helped Maya with her simple white dress, while their grandmother helped Mira with her cream-colored gown. "You look beautiful," their grandmother told Mira. "Both of you, 2 different flowers from the same garden." In another room, James and John put on matching black suits with different color ties, blue for James and green for John. "Ready for this?" James asked his brother. John smiled. "More ready than I've ever been for anything." By 11 o'clock, the church was full. Some people came to support the couples, but many came just to watch what they thought would be a strange show. Aunt Martha sat in the front row with a tight smile on her face. Cousin Brad was in the back, whispering to his friends. The music started, and everyone turned to watch. First came James and John, walking together down the aisle. They stood at the altar, waiting. Then the doors opened again. Maya and Mira entered, each holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. For the first time in their lives, they walked separately. Maya went first, her head held high. Mira followed a few steps behind. Their father walked between them, one arm linked with each daughter. People gasped. Even those who had known the twins all their lives had trouble telling them apart sometimes. But today, they looked like 2 distinct women. Maya's hair was up in a neat bun, while Mira wore hers down with small flowers woven through it. Their dresses, though different in color, Both suited their figures perfectly. They reached the altar, where their father kissed each one on the cheek before stepping back. Maya stood next to James, and Mira next to John. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. Each couple said their own vows. Maya and James went first. "James," Maya said, her voice clear and strong, "I choose you as my husband. I promise to love you, to build a life with you, and to be your partner in all things. Our story is just beginning." James squeezed her hands as he said his vows, his eyes never leaving hers. When it was Mira and John's turn, Mira's voice shook slightly. "John, you saw me as Mira, not just as a twin. You understood that being part of a pair doesn't make me half a person. It makes me whole in a different way. I promise to love you and build our life together, while honoring all the parts of who I am." By the end of the ceremony, something strange had happened. The mood in the church had shifted. Even those who came to judge found themselves moved by the sincerity of the couples. As they walked back down the aisle, now as married couples, Maya caught sight of Mrs. Palmer, the grocery store owner who had criticized them. The older woman was wiping a tear from her eye. The reception was held in the town park under a large white tent. Tables were set with simple white cloths and jars of wildflowers. A local band played soft music as people ate and drank. The two couples had their first dance together. They had practiced for weeks, and it showed. Each man danced with his wife, but in a pattern that brought the four of them together and apart, like waves on the shore. Even Cousin Brad seemed impressed. "They actually look happy," he said to his girlfriend. "Maybe they know what they're doing after all." As the evening ended, the couples prepared to leave for their honeymoon. They had rented 2 cabins near a lake, close enough to visit but separate enough for privacy. Just before they left, the twins' grandmother pulled all 4 of them close. "The hard part starts now," she whispered. "People will still laugh. They will still judge. But remember this, a tree with deep roots does not fear the storm." After their honeymoon, the 2 couples returned to Riverdale with big news. They had found 2 houses for sale right next to each other. By the end of the month, they had moved in. Maya and James in a blue house, Mira and John in a green one. Of course they bought houses side by side, people in town said, rolling their eyes. Did you expect anything different? Some neighbors were kind, bringing welcome gifts and smiles. Others kept their distance, watching with curious eyes as the couples set up their new homes. The houses had a shared backyard with no fence between them. The couples planted a garden there together, with vegetables and flowers growing side by side. They built a patio in the middle where they often had dinner together. But they also had their own lives. Maya worked at the local hospital as a nurse. Mira taught 3rd grade at Riverdale Elementary. James and John worked at their uncle's hardware store, slowly learning the business. 3 months after the wedding, hard times hit Riverdale. The factory at the edge of town closed down, and many people lost their jobs. John was one of them. He had taken a part-time job at the factory to make extra money. "I don't know what we'll do," John told Mira one night. "My uncle can't pay me more at the store." The next day, James came over with an idea. "People still need things fixed, even when money is tight," he said. "What if we start our own repair business? I'm good with plumbing, and you're good with electricity. We could work together." John liked the idea. They'd made flyers and put them all over town. Their first job was fixing Mrs. Palmer's leaky sink. She was surprised by how well they worked together. "One starts where the other leaves off. No words needed," she told her friends later. "They fixed my sink better than my ex-husband ever did, and for half the price." Word spread quickly. Soon, the brothers had more work than they could handle alone. They hired Tim, who had lost his job at the factory and had 5 kids to feed. Meanwhile, Maya found out she was pregnant. Morning sickness hit her hard. Some days, she could barely get out of bed before having to run to the bathroom. Her boss at the hospital was not very understanding. "Pregnant women work all the time," he said when she asked for a later start time. You need to toughen up." Mira saw her sister struggling each morning. Without being asked, she started coming over early before school. She would make bland toast and ginger tea for Maya, help her get ready, and then go to her own job. "You don't have to do this," Maya said one morning. "I know," Mira replied simply. "I want to." One day, Aunt Martha saw Mira helping Maya into her car. Later, at the coffee shop, Martha told her friends, "Those girls are still acting like they're joined at the hip. Maya needs to stand on her own 2 feet. Her husband should be helping her, not her sister." What Aunt Martha didn't see was how James worked extra hours to save money for the baby. He came home late, tired but happy, often bringing something small he had found for the baby. A soft blanket, a tiny hat, a wooden toy he had made himself. What she also didn't see was how John took over more of their shared business so James could take Maya to doctor appointments, or how all four of them sat together planning for the baby, making sure both houses would be safe and ready. The town kept watching and waiting for problems. 6 months after the wedding, people were still betting on when things would fall apart. "They're playing house," said Brad at the town bar. "Real life will hit them soon enough." Little did he know, real life had already hit them, and they were handling it better than anyone expected. As Maya's belly grew bigger with the baby, something else grew in Riverdale, the Wilson brothers' repair business. By the 7th month of the marriages, they had 5 men working for them. All these men had lost jobs when the factory closed. One of these men was Brad's father, Uncle Pete. When the factory shut down, Pete had been only 2 years away from retirement. No one would hire him because of his age. He sat at home, angry and sad, while his savings slowly disappeared. James and John heard about Pete's situation from Maya and Mira. They went to his house one evening. "We need someone who can answer phones and schedule jobs," James told Pete. "Someone who knows everyone in town." Pete looked suspicious. "Why would you offer me a job? Your wife's cousin Brad has been nothing but mean about your marriages." John shrugged. "That's Brad's problem, not yours. Do you want the job or not?" Pete took the job. A week later, Brad saw his father wearing the Wilson Brothers repairs cap and looking happier than he had in months. "Why are you working for them?" Brad asked, confused. "Because they gave me a chance when no one else would," Pete answered simply. Around this time, Mira noticed a problem at her school. Some of her students couldn't read well, but the school didn't have money for extra help. These children were falling behind and feeling bad about themselves. One night at dinner in the shared backyard, Mira talked about it. "These kids just need more time and attention," she said. "A few hours each week could make a big difference." Maya, now 8 months pregnant and on leave from the hospital, had an idea. "What if we start a weekend reading program? I have time now, and I've always loved reading." Mira's eyes lit up. "We could use my classroom on Saturdays. The principal would say yes if it didn't cost anything." That Saturday, Maya and Mira sat in Mira's classroom with 5 children who needed help. They read stories, played word games, and gave each child one-on-one attention. The next week, 10 children came. The third week, 15. Parents started to notice their children reading better and enjoying books more. One of these children was Mrs. Palmer's grandson, Timmy. He had always hated reading because the words seemed to jump around on the page. Maya spent extra time with him, trying different ways to help him focus. "He read a whole book to me last night," Mrs. Palmer told everyone at her store. "First time ever." Those Singh twins, or Wilson women now, I guess, they really know what they're doing with kids. Word about the reading program spread. Soon, there was a waiting list of children who wanted to join. James and John built bookshelves for the classroom and collected donated books from around town. Meanwhile, Maya's due date got closer. One evening, while everyone was having dinner in the backyard, she felt the first contraction. "I think it's time," she said, her face a mix of excitement and fear. James jumped up, knocking over his chair. "The hospital bag. Where is it? What do we do first? Mira calmly picked up Maya's hospital bag, which had been sitting by the door for 2 weeks. The bag is here. John, you drive. James, you sit with Maya in the back seat. I'll call the doctor and meet you there. Everyone moved quickly, but without panic. Even Maya seemed calm, knowing she had her whole support system with her. As they drove to the hospital, they passed Aunt Martha walking her dog. She watched the 2 cars drive by with confused interest. At the hospital, the nurse at the front desk looked at all 4 of them with raised eyebrows. Family only in the delivery room, she said firmly. Maya gripped Mira's hand. She is family. She's coming in. The nurse looked like she wanted to argue, but then saw the determination on Maya's face. She nodded and led them to a room. 12 hours later, baby Lily came into the world, healthy and loud. James cried. Mira took photos. John ran to call the grandparents. Baby Lily changed everything. She was tiny but mighty, with dark hair like her mother and curious eyes that seemed to take in the whole world. She became the center of all 4 adults' lives. Maya and James were the parents, but Mira and John were just as involved. When Maya was too tired to get up for the 2 a.m. feeding, Mira would hear the baby's cries through the baby monitor they had set up between the houses. She would go over and take care of Lily so Maya could sleep. It's like having 4 parents instead of 2, James told a customer one day as he fixed the man sink. Lily is the luckiest baby in town. Word about this arrangement spread quickly through Riverdale. Some people still thought it was strange, but others began to see the wisdom in it. Imagine having that much help with a newborn, said a tired-looking mother at the grocery store. Maybe they're onto something. Meanwhile, the reading program that Maya and Mira started was getting bigger. They now helped 25 children every Saturday, with a waiting list of 15 more. They needed more space and more help. One Saturday, Mrs. Palmer came to pick up her grandson Timmy and stayed to watch. She saw how the twins worked with the children, patient and kind. She noticed how each twin had her own style. Maya was playful and energetic, while Mira was calm and structured. Together, they reached every type of learner. I used to be a teacher, you know, Mrs. Palmer said as they were cleaning up. Before I owned the grocery store. I miss it sometimes. Mira looked at her with bright eyes. Would you like to help us? We need another adult, especially someone with teaching experience. Mrs. Palmer started helping the next weekend. Soon, other retired teachers joined too. The program moved to the town library, which had more space. The children's reading scores at school began to improve, and parents were grateful. The school principal, Mr. Davis, who had once said the twins were too dependent on each other, now praised their program at a school board meeting. The Wilson Sing Reading Initiative is making a real difference, he said, using both their married and maiden names. These women have created something our town desperately needed. As for the brothers' business, it continued to grow. They now had 7 employees and 2 trucks with Wilson Brothers Repairs painted on the sides. They were known for fair prices and good work. People from neighboring towns started calling them for help. Uncle Pete, who ran their office, was their biggest fan. He told everyone who called about how the brothers had given jobs to people who really needed them. Brad, who had been so critical of the marriages, stopped making jokes when he saw how well his father was doing. His own marriage was in trouble. His wife had left him a month ago, saying he didn't know how to be a partner. One evening, Brad swallowed his pride and went to the twins' houses. He found all 4 of them in the backyard. Baby Lily was sleeping in a portable crib while the adults ate dinner together. "Can I talk to you?" Brad asked, standing awkwardly at the gate. They invited him to sit. He looked down at his hands. "I'm sorry for what I said about your marriages," he said finally. "I was wrong. My wife left me because I thought marriage was about being in charge, not being a team. I don't know how to fix things with her." The 4 exchanged looks. Then James spoke. "Marriage isn't easy," he said. "It takes work and respect." "And communication," added John. "And knowing when to help and when to step back," said Mira. "And remembering why you fell in love in the first place," finished Maya, reaching for James's hand. Brad looked at each of them, then at baby Lily sleeping peacefully. Would you help me understand how to be better?" he asked. "I really love her. I don't want to lose her." For the first time, someone who had laughed at them was now asking for their help. It was the beginning of a big change in Riverdale. The help Brad asked for turned into a weekly dinner at the twins' backyard. Every Thursday night, Brad would come over, and they would talk honestly about relationships, communication, and respect. Sometimes they just listened as Brad talked about his feelings and fears. "I never knew how to talk about feelings," Brad admitted one evening. "My dad never did. He just kept everything inside." Uncle Pete, who was there that night, nodded sadly. "That's true. I didn't know how to do that. And I didn't teach you. I'm sorry, son." Slowly, Brad began to change. He called his wife, Sarah, and asked if they could meet for coffee. At first, she said no. But after he kept trying, she agreed to one meeting. "What did you say to her?" Mira asked when Brad came to tell them about the coffee date. "I told her I was learning to be a better man, and even if she didn't come back to me, I wanted to apologize properly for how I treated her," Brad said. "And she cried. Then she said yes to coffee." That small step led to more meetings. Sarah started coming to the Thursday dinners too. She was quiet at first, watching how the two couples talked to each other with kindness and respect. She saw how they disagreed without fighting, how they listened to each other's ideas. "I've never seen married people talk like this," she told Maya one night while they were washing dishes together. "My parents always yelled or didn't talk at all." Maya smiled. "We learned it from watching our parents. They weren't perfect, but they always faced problems together. When we were little, they would sit at the kitchen table and talk things out, no matter how long it took." As the couples approached their first wedding anniversary, more people in town began to see the positive impact they were having. The reading program now helped 40 children each weekend. The school's reading scores were the highest they had been in years. Parents who had once looked at the twins with suspicion now thanked them for helping their children. The repair business employed 10 people, most of whom had been without work before. The Wilson brothers were known for treating their employees well and charging fair prices. Baby Lily was growing fast, a happy child surrounded by love. She knew all 4 adults equally well, reaching for any of them when she needed comfort or attention. "That child is going to be so secure," the town doctor said during Lily's checkup. "Having so many loving adults in her life is a gift." Even Aunt Martha's view began to change. One day, her daughter called from another state, crying about her marriage problems. "I don't know what to do, Mom," her daughter sobbed over the phone. "Tom and I can't stop fighting. I think it's over." For the first time in her life, Aunt Martha didn't know what advice to give. Her own marriage had ended in a bitter divorce years ago. She had always believed marriage was about enduring hardship, not solving problems together. After hanging up the phone, she stood in her kitchen feeling lost. Then she remembered the Singh twins and how they and their husbands seemed to make marriage work in a way she had never seen before. The next day, she did something she never thought she would do. She walked to the twins' houses and knocked on Maya's door. Maya was surprised to see her aunt standing there. "Aunt Martha, is everything okay?" "No," Martha said, her voice shaking a little. "My daughter's marriage is falling apart, and I don't know how to help her. I've never seen a truly happy marriage until I saw yours. Can I ask you some questions?" Martha, who had been one of the first to laugh at the twins' marriage plans, was now on their doorstep asking for help. The world had truly turned upside down in Riverdale. Maya invited her aunt inside and called Mira to come over. As they sat in the living room with cups of tea, Martha looked at her nieces with new eyes. "I think I've been wrong about a lot of things," she said softly. Can you teach an old woman some new tricks about relationships? As their first wedding anniversary came closer, something unexpected happened. A reporter from a big city magazine came to Riverdale. She had heard about the reading program and wanted to write a story about it. The reporter, Lisa Chen, met with Maya and Mira at the library on a Saturday during the reading program. She watched as they worked with the children, took notes, and asked questions. "This program is amazing," Lisa said, "but I'm also interested in the story behind it. I heard you two are twins who married brothers and live next door to each other. Is that true?" Maya and Mira looked at each other. They had gotten used to people in town knowing their story, but they weren't sure about sharing it with the whole country. "Yes, that's true," Maya said finally, "but there's much more to us than that." Over the next few days, Lisa interviewed the twins, their husbands, and many people in town. She talked to children from the reading program and their parents. She spoke with employees from the repair business. She even interviewed Brad and Sarah about how the twins had helped their marriage. "At first, I laughed at them like everyone else," Brad told Lisa honestly. "Now I wish I had a relationship half as strong as theirs." When the magazine article came out 2 weeks later, it was titled "The Twin Solution: How Two Sisters Are Changing Their Town." The story wasn't just about their unusual marriages. It focused on how they had used their strong bond to help others, create jobs, and improve education in Riverdale. The article included photos of the reading program, the repair business, and a beautiful family picture of all 4 adults with baby Lily. It told the story of how people had laughed at their wedding plans, but now came to them for advice and help. The Singh twins, now Maya and Mira Wilson, have proven that there is no one right way to create a family, the article said. By staying true to themselves and supporting each other, they have built something remarkable, not just for themselves, but for their entire community. The town's reaction to the article was mixed. Some people felt embarrassed to see their judgmental comments quoted in a national magazine. Others felt proud that Riverdale was being recognized for the positive changes happening there. Mrs. Palmer put 5 copies of the magazine in her store window. "These are our girls," she told customers proudly, as if she had supported the twins all along. The principal, Mr. Davis, asked if he could make copies of the article for the school board. "We want to expand the reading program to other schools in the county," he explained. "This article will help us get support." The biggest surprise came from the mayor of Riverdale. He had never spoken to the twins or their husbands before, but after the article came out, he called and asked if they would meet with him. They sat in his office, unsure why they were there. "Riverdale has been struggling since the factory closed," the mayor said. "But you 4 have done more to help this town than anyone else. The reading program, the repair business creating jobs, the marriage counseling. It's making a real difference." He cleared his throat. "I'm organizing a town meeting to discuss new ideas for improving Riverdale. Would you be willing to speak about your experiences? Maybe help lead some community projects?" The 4 looked at each other in surprise. A year ago, they had been the town joke. Now, the mayor was asking for their help in leading the community. "We would be honored," James said, speaking for all of them. As they left the mayor's office, they passed the town hall bulletin board. Someone had pinned up the magazine article for everyone to see. Under it, someone had written in big letters, "Riverdale's Pride." Mira touched the words gently. "Remember when we were Riverdale's joke?" she asked softly. Maya squeezed her sister's hand. "I think the joke's on them now." On the day of their first wedding anniversary, the 2 couples decided to have a celebration in the town park. What started as a small family gathering turned into something much bigger. The mayor asked if they would make it a town event, and soon everyone was involved. The hardware store, now run mostly by the Wilson brothers' uncle since they focused on their repair business, donated tables and chairs. Mrs. Palmer and other store owners provided food. The school children made decorations. Even the town's small band offered to play music. "This is not what I expected for our anniversary," Mira told John as they watched people setting up the park. "Me neither," John said, putting his arm around her. "But I like it." By 5 o'clock that evening, almost everyone in Riverdale had come to the park. Tables were filled with food. Children played games on the grass, and the band played happy songs. In the middle of it all stood Maya, James, Mira, and John, with baby Lily dressed in a pretty yellow dress. The mayor called for everyone's attention and stood on a small platform. "1 year ago today, we witnessed a wedding that many of us didn't understand," he said honestly. "Some of us laughed. Some of us made bets on how quickly it would fail. Some of us were just confused by it all." People in the crowd looked down, remembering their unkind words. "But today, we're celebrating not just 2 successful marriages, but a new spirit in our town," the mayor continued. "These 4 young people have shown us that family can look different from what we expect. They've shown us that supporting each other makes everyone stronger." He raised his glass. "To Maya and James, to Mira and John, thank you for not listening to us when we doubted you. Thank you for showing us a better way." Everyone clapped and raised their glasses. Maya and Mira, who had never liked being the center of attention except with each other, felt tears in their eyes. Then Aunt Martha stepped forward, surprising everyone. "I have something to say," she announced. Her voice shook a little, but she stood tall. "I was one of the worst critics of these marriages. I said terrible things that I now regret deeply." The crowd was silent, listening. "My daughter's marriage was saved because of what she learned from Maya and Mira," Martha continued. "She and her husband came to visit last month, and they spent time with the twins and their husbands. They learned how to talk to each other again, how to listen, how to be partners." Martha looked directly at her nieces. "I was wrong. I laughed at what I didn't understand. I thought I knew everything about marriage because I was older, but you taught this old woman new tricks. I'm sorry, and I thank you." She walked over and hugged both twins tightly. There were tears and smiles all around. As the party continued into the evening, Brad and Sarah found the twins sitting at a quiet table, watching the celebration. "We have news," Sarah said, smiling and holding Brad's hand. "We're back together for good. We signed up for a house just down the street from yours." And Brad added with a grin, "We're having a baby. We want our child to grow up near Lily, with all of you as part of their life." As night fell, lanterns lit up the park. The 4 sat together at a table, watching their friends and neighbors dancing and laughing. Baby Lily slept peacefully in Maya's arms. "Happy anniversary," James said, raising his glass to all of them. "To many more," John added. Maya looked around at the town that had once laughed at them and now celebrated them. "Do you think we should tell them?" she asked Mira with a small smile. Mira nodded, her eyes bright. "I think it's time." Maya stood up, gently holding Lily, and called for everyone's attention. "We have one more piece of news to share on this special day," she announced. "Mira is pregnant. Lily will have a cousin in about 7 months." The crowd cheered loudly, glasses were raised again, and the band played even more joyfully. In the middle of it all, 4 young people who had once been the town joke stood tall and proud. They had not just proven everyone wrong. They had shown them a new way to be right.